Hello, where are my YouTube and Facebook? Okay. So my hair is all straggly. That's what happens when you let it dry naturally. Okay. Just waiting for people to turn up, making sure I'm on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I've got people turning up now, so we'll get going as soon as I like to wait till I get at least 20 people on here. So, and I'm on YouTube the whole time I'm doing lives. I'm on YouTube. That's where all my lives are saved. Because my daughter does all my social media, so she does all my videos from my lives. So this is all I have to do. I don't have to do separate videos. I used to do separate videos, so it's wonderful. Okay. So I'm just looking at your names. Okay, I'm all finished work for the day. Had my last client just a few minutes ago, and now it's actually a sunny night out. I might go for a bike ride tonight, so I'm very excited about that. We've had a lot of rain lately. Okay, so let's get going. If you go to the link above, you'll see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. My name's Lisa, by the way, and I'm a parenting coach. I do these lives. I used to do them every day. I don't always have time these days. But yeah, I do these lives. I'm just answering parenting questions. I specialize in teenagers, but most of the people who ask me questions on here have toddlers. So how to help 4-year-olds stop hitting. Get the behavior board and put no hitting on the behavior board. It's that simple. There's a consequence when they hit. I never try and stop kids from doing things past the age of 3. I just have a consequence when they make a poor decision. So you're never trying to stop the bad behavior. You're trying to teach them that if they do choose that bad behavior, there's a consequence. Okay. So yeah, everyone's trying to stop tantrums, stop bad behavior. We don't do that here. Okay. We just say, yeah, the rule on the behavior board is no hitting. If you hit, there's a consequence. They'll eventually stop hitting. We all learn through consequences, right? That's why we pay our taxes. We don't want to go to jail. That's why we don't always speed as much as we'd like down the freeway, because we might get a ticket. Our whole lives as adults are run by consequences, right? So that's what you want to teach your children. How to handle teens with vaping or smoking. You get a good relationship with them first, and then you can start to deal with that. It's all about relationships with your teenagers. I don't have a course on that. You'd have to hire me if you want to, and I teach you how to do that. But basically, I'm going to read out my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. These are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1, listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. By the way, they already know it, okay? When you get good at this, really listening to understand, show empathy, they'll start telling you everything, okay? Because you're a safe place to land. No judgment here. You're just a safe place to land. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. It goes something like this. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? You can't, it's not a blanket statement. You can't do it with everything, but try and do it with a lot. And number 3 with teenagers is don't sweat the small stuff. If they do something stupid, you just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Or do you want to hear what I did yesterday? I mean, and then laugh it off. It's okay to make mistakes. It's not about, life isn't about perfection. Who would want to be around a perfect person anyway? There is no such thing. So yeah, you want to teach them it's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Okay. How do we determine what consequences to give each rule? Everyone gets caught up in the consequences. Just look at the behavior board. It's just an outline on how you do that. What the consequence is doesn't matter. It's the consistency of following through with the consequence. It's usually something they don't like. And you do 2 consequences for the kids. The positive one starts first, so that you get them to do something positive. So let's say they hit their little brother. They have to let their little brother play with their favorite activity for 15 minutes, something like that. If they won't do that, then you resort to the negative deprivation consequence. That's media blackout for 24 hours or something like that. Sorry about my voice. I know I'm my 3rd week now with this stupid cold, so I know I sound horrible, but I'm doing my best here. Oh, okay. This is from Shannon on YouTube. How do I reach out to get help and need assistance for a child that has trauma? Willing to hire. That would be coaching. Anything trauma, crisis, abuse, or just teenage stuff, anything sort of next level, that would be one-on-one coaching with me. Just look in the description in my YouTube channel and it'll take you to the coaching page. and everything else too. It's all on one page, and you have to sign up for coaching. I can't take everyone on, but write down trauma, and you'll get priority if it's something that's trauma. I specialize in crisis work, so you have to mention that or else I won't know, because I can't take everyone on. So, but I will prioritize trauma. But top tips for a 4-year-old. I don't have any top tips for a 4-year-old. I have top tips for teenagers and toddlers, because everything else I teach that I talk about is for all the 3 to 12. But I will read my top 3 leadership qualities, which could apply to all ages, 3 and over. Is number 1, you stay calm during the storms. Yeah, this isn't for toddlers so much. The last one is not for toddlers. Okay, number 1, stay calm during the storms. That means when you're disciplining kids, you stay completely calm. It's like a business transaction. There's no emotions when you're disciplining, and get it done fast. You discipline a child, get it done quickly, and then focus on the good kid. So you deal with bad behavior, get it done fast, and then you focus on the good kid. You go right back to being, oh, do you want to read a book? Do you want to do something? Number 2, be crazy during the rainbows. That means when everything's great, you can be crazy. I used to chase my kids around the house with underpants on my head. I was nuts. But yeah, just laughing at some of the stuff I used to do. Anyway, number 3 is be a great listener. Listen to understand and show empathy. Don't listen to gather information to lecture with. Sorry, I'm giggling. I just did something kind of crazy. My daughter-in-law put a video on the family chat of my little 5-month-old granddaughter on having tummy time, and she's playing. And so, of course, I did a video of me doing tummy times. It cracked me up. Anyway, yeah, I was a crazy mother. Turns out I'm a crazy grandmother too, so that's okay. You want to be fun. Kids love language is fun. They want to laugh. They want to have fun. We all do. I'm like that. You make me laugh, I'll follow you around forever. I love, that's my Achilles heel is humor. Kids are like that. They want to have fun. That's their love language. Oh, how to deal with 2-year-old crying when anyone enters the home? Just put them in another room and let them sit in there alone. I wouldn't give that any attention. What do you do to be a leader? Just keep watching me. You can check out the link above. I have a whole course on leadership. It's called the boot camp course. If you have a 3 to a 12-year-old, that would be a good place to start. Or at the minimum, you can just get the free behavior board. It's completely free and just teaches you. A leader, to me, you give respect to get it. Check out my video, Example of Leadership Parenting. I don't know where it is here on Facebook, but in TikTok and in Instagram, it is the first video, and it's called Example of Leadership Parenting, and it is my pool story. I don't have the energy to tell it again. I've told it thousands of times. It's the pool story. It's how you deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. That's what a leader does. You want to bring out the best in your kids. You're not just teaching kids what not to do. You're teaching them how to be good. You're teaching them what to do. A lot of parents focus on stopping them from things. I don't. I focus on encouraging good behavior, how to get them to be respectful and all that. Okay. How do you deal with lies from a 3 and 5-year-old? Put down no lying on the behavior board. And when they lie, there's a consequence. Remember, we're never stopping bad behavior. We're having a consequence when they choose to do bad behavior. And that's what they stop themselves. The whole point is that you don't want to micromanage kids. You don't want to regulate them. You want them to learn how to have self-discipline and how to regulate themselves. There's a big difference between the two. I don't like telling kids what to do. I like them to make good choices. Huge difference. That's why parenting was so easy for me. I didn't have to discipline my kids. They just made good choices because they knew if they made a bad one, mom I'd say, well, that wasn't very smart, was it? Here's a consequence. They never argued because they understood it. Life's up to them. I used to say to them, if you're good, life is good. If you're bad, life ain't so good. I'll make sure of it because I'm your mom and that's my job. So, and they understood that it was all up to them. It was all up to their choice. I empowered them to make good choices. If they made a bad one, I'd come in with a consequence. Well, that was stupid. Here's your consequence. Oh, sorry, mom. Like it was that easy. But I worked for that. I earned that. You got to work for this stuff. Getting respect is hard work. Once you've got it, it's a piece of cake. Sail right through the teen years. Okay. Okay, Haley, my 2 and 4-year-old do the same poor behavior. I feel like my 4-year-old is feeling like it's unfair for him to get a consequence and not his little brother. Am I doing something wrong? No, just say he's too little to be on the behavior board. And with under the age of 3, then it's consistent corrective actions. You deal with them right in the moment, and there's an action, not words. So you say, well, you're a big boy. Is it a boy? I don't know. Yeah, 2 little boys. Okay, just say, because when he's 3, he'll be on the behavior board too. You're a big boy. He can't be on there yet. But you've got it that you also discipline a toddler. Toddlers are under the age of 3. It's consistent corrective actions because they learn through repetition. Oh, goodness, sorry. Okay, how to manage a 24-hour media blackout as a consequence for a second bad behavior boy, 4-year-old, when his little sister can watch a little bit of TV, for example. I don't quite know what you mean. So how do you handle it if you've just got one kid with 24-hour media blackout? Okay, the child who has media blackout gets the run of the house. The kids who can watch screens go in a master bedroom, or you go in a separate room with them and you watch it with them. In just a sec. I've been coughing a lot still. But is the little one, how old is the little one? He's got a little sister. Okay. So yeah, she can go. Okay, this is usually how it goes. The kid with media blackout has the run of the house, but the other kids take smaller screens into the master bedroom. Okay, they're usually happy to do that because they know their brother can't have anything, right? So that's sort of how it's done. You have to manage that according to the ages and that. And then you're out with the one who has 24-hour media blackout. You always do it with them, and you try and interact with them. Say, look, I'm doing media blackout with you. How about we play a game? No, I hate you. I hate you. Say, fine, never mind. Half hour later, you ready for that game now? You're always trying to engage with them. You don't have to juggle for them 24 hours, but you want to sort of show them that, hey, let's play a game. I'm not mad at you. You've got 24-hour media blackout. The punishment's already been laid out. So I got a bug in here. They call them no-see-ums, but I can see them. So I don't know why they're called no-see-ums, just because they're so tiny. Okay, the behavior board is hard, as in I need to be consistent. Yep. But it is working. Even bought a huge whiteboard as we are a big family. Yeah, good. A lot of people do that. You're going to have 3 behavior boards. So if it's a huge whiteboard, just split it in 3. And yeah, the behavior board does work because it's teaching the whole family how to have consequences. So you got a rule and a consequence. Mom and dad are on there too. That's no one else has ever done that with a behavior board that I've ever heard of. If anyone else is, I invented that. I'm sure I did. About 16 years ago, I did that. I put the parents on there too. So you got to show that you're accountable too. My kids were really well behaved, but also if I messed up, they were very quick to call me out on it. They were very well behaved because they knew that I also was, both of us were very accountable, their dad and I. If we messed up, oh, sorry about that. What can we do to make it up to you? So yeah. Remember, a leader leads by example, not by telling them what to do, but by showing them. So if you're accountable, they're more likely to be accountable because they feel respected. Leaders give respect to get it. If I see my 4-year-old about to hit and stop it before it happens, does that? Yeah, that should be a consequence. Say, if I didn't stop that, you would have hit. No, I wouldn't. Yeah, never mind. Here's the consequence. Don't argue. Do not argue. Not fair, not fair. Oh, well, you'll know next time, won't you? Yeah, don't get pulled into it. The more you explain, the more they complain. Remember that. Remember, write it down somewhere. The more you explain, the more they complain. Once you've explained something once, or even if you just know they got it, most kids know not to hit. They just understand that's not a good thing. Why would you explain? That hurts me. You shouldn't know. All that stuff, that's, yeah, I don't do that. Yeah, you hit. Here's a consequence. Don't give them anything to argue back with. You hit, you know you shouldn't have done that. No, I didn't know that. You see what I mean? Don't feed it. Okay. Someone said, how do you give a consequence, especially if you're not into hitting? Check out my behavior board. It explains it all. It's completely free. It's in the description. This is on YouTube, this person asked. It's in the description on YouTube or in the bio here on, I don't know where. I don't do my social media, so I don't know what things are called. but I've got one link everywhere, and it leads to Podia, which is where all my courses are, and my coaching information is there too. By the way, be careful if you're going to look me up online, because there's a whole bunch of imposters out there. They're using my videos, my name, everything. They're using all my information, and they're stealing money from people pretending to be me. So I'm here now, and this is me, so you can trust this because I'm doing a live, right? They can't do this. They can't do a live. But yeah, I can't stop that. I'd have to fly over to Nigeria and find them all. So love your shirt, by the way. H&M. I love thrifting, and most of my jeans are thrifted. And but yeah, H&M. I don't have anything expensive or anything. I hate shopping. God, I hate it. It's agony. If I find something I like, I just buy like 20 of them. So this all sold out. I couldn't get more. I just bought a bunch of Amazon t-shirts. I bought 2 of them, and now I think I've got 8 on order. I hate shopping. If I find something, and I'm a sewer, so I did have to take the hems up on all of them. But yeah, if I find something I like, I'm a uniform wearer. I just wear the same thing all the time. What kinds of consequences do you give kids under 3? No, you don't give consequences. You do consistent corrective actions. So right in the moment, you say no, and then there's a consistent or a corrective action. So you use consistent corrective actions under the age of 3. You don't use words. You don't use a behavior board. You just say no, and you take fun away from them or them away from fun. No timeout, though. I hate timeout. I think it's mean. Can't stand it. So I just want to thank you for your support here on Facebook. I've got almost 200,000 followers now. We started posting regularly on Facebook. I think it was December. So we've gained 200,000 people since December. So thank you. Amazing. I've gained 400,000 on Instagram in about 6-7 months. So yeah, unbelievable. I just appreciate it so much. You know, I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've seen a big shift in parenting in the last couple of years. I was specializing in crisis work because no one else was doing it really. So it was, easier for me. But now I see I'm becoming more mainstream because my methods go against this pleaser parent style that's so popular right now. But people are realizing it's a disaster. So, the kids you're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. They're woke victims. I saw that coming 40 years ago. Finally, it's starting to go out. Finally. I only had to wait 40 years. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. I like this. Kelsey. How do you respond if your kids ask, sorry. How do you respond if your kids ask what the consequence is before deciding if they want to listen or not? Example, blah, blah, blah. Please go and brush your teeth and start your morning chores. What's the consequence if I don't? Say, you'll find out. Yeah, don't worry about it. Plus, it should be on a behavior board. So put down, do your chores or follow morning routine. Only one rule per board and one rule per, you'll see. Anyway, check it out. It's free above. And, but yeah, just say you'll find out. What should the consequence be? Oh, you'll find out. But I want to know now. Keep bothering me about it. It'll be worse. Yeah, I don't explain myself. There's no way. No way. What's it going to be? You'll find out. Or not, if you make a right decision. Every time my son used to laugh because every time I was disciplining kids or dealing with kids, he says, you get this smirk. I love all this stuff. I just enjoy it. Yeah. What's it going to be? You'll find out. If you're really calm about it, they just kind of go, oh, okay. They just start to get it. Like, you're not explaining yourself. My 7-year-old pitches a fit still and can't take him to the store without wanting something. How do I go about? Well, you trained him to do that because they only do what works past the age of 4 years old. So you're going to have to say to him, from now on, if you're not going to get treats at the store, you might get something every so often. I will decide. If you ask for something, that's not a treat. That's me filling a demand that will not be happening in future. So yeah, you got to work. It can't just fix that one thing though. You got to get the whole picture. Check out the boot camp course. Teaches you how to be a leader, because everyone wants, how do we fix that? How do we fix that? Once you're a leader, everything takes care of itself. So, but you got to back it up with other stuff. If you're only being a leader with that one thing, it's not really going to work. You got to, I'm sure there's other stuff going on too, right? Because past the age of 4, they only do what works. And they usually stop tantruming at about 4, 3.5 to 4, they stop tantrums if you're a leader. Thank you for getting on Facebook. That's my daughter. She got me on Facebook. I went on TikTok 2 years ago, and then she said, I'm going to get you on Facebook and Instagram. And she just thought she was going to help me out. And yeah, took off. And yeah, she works for me now. So she's very good at what she does. She does all my marketing and social media and all that stuff. I've enjoyed watching, listening, and learning. Thank you. You're very welcome. If I'm not resonating with you, and if you're going, well, what the heck is she about? Just go on to someone else. You're never going to like me, because if I'm not resonating with you now, move on, because I'd rather you move on to someone else and you're going to take action with that person. I'd rather you listen and then do what I say and give it a go. I'd rather you take action and start getting results than just listening for entertainment. Some people just listen for entertainment. Someone told me that they listened to me, they watched my videos to go to sleep by. I didn't know whether to take that as a compliment or an insult. They found me relaxing. You know what I think that was, is I'm very maternal and motherly. So I think they found it very comforting, like mothering. I think that's what they said it was. Struck me as funny though. How can the behavior board be conformed to an autistic child? Level 1 Asperger's or Asperger's. Everyone says it differently. Also diagnosed with ADHD and ODD is not a thing. Oppositional defiant disorder. That was just something made up by doctors to make moms feel better about themselves. It has nothing to do with anything. Anyway, autism I only discuss in coaching, so I can't discuss it here. I don't know where you're at with them, what's worked in the past. We throw mud at the wall and see what sticks in coaching. Okay. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of autistic kids, but I don't generalize when I talk about them. So that would be coaching. If you're interested in working with me, check out the link above and you can look into coaching. And I don't have time to take everyone on these days, but I do assess. You have to fill out a form and I'll assess, because I like to mix up the ages too. I've got tons of teenagers right now because I specialize in teens, but I hardly ever say no to teenage stuff because I don't have anything else for them. I do have a course if you have younger kids, but yeah. Anyway, and it's my favorite age, teenagers. But if I have 6 or 7 sessions in a day and they're all teenagers, I'm worn out by the end of that because I have to really think with teenage stuff. Okay, actually, I'm going to move over to Instagram now because my voice still isn't at its best. So I want to make sure I can get through Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I'm on YouTube the whole time when I'm doing my lives. That's where I save all my lives. And anyway, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. Anyway, I'm off to Instagram now. It's Bratbusters Parenting over there. And we'll see you there. If not, see you tomorrow on the live. Bye now. Gee, that was loud. There we go. Okay, I'm just waiting for Instagram. In about 10 seconds, I'll have 150 people on Instagram. It's the fastest one for people to turn up. So 10, 9, 8. It's hilarious. Yeah. So it's 149, 155. Okay, it's funny. Everyone turns up so fast on Instagram. Okay, thanks for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link above, you can see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. What was I going to say? Oh, I guess that's it. Anyway, so welcome to, if you're new, hi, Australia. I've got a soft spot for Australia. That's where I raised my kids. Sydney and mostly Brisbane. I was there for about 20 years. Yeah, I miss the weather. Okay, right now it's winter there. Okay. What about babies that hate the car seat? My daughter did. She got car sick. And, but yeah, not much you can do. They just have to scream the whole time. She wasn't a crier, but she certainly, you could tell she was miserable. And but yeah, she got car sick. Sydney. Yeah, my son was born in Sydney. Nepean Hospital. What would you do with a toddler who wants a hug while tantruming? What they're saying is validate me. Is this good? Is this good? Yeah, I just go, if they want a hug, I just go, you're all right. And just pat them like that. That's okay. And then just ignore them. So you kind of acknowledge that, but you don't hug them during a tantrum. That's not a love hug. That's a validate me hug. Yeah, it has nothing to do with love. Brisbane. Excellent. Yeah, we lived in Arana Hills. Kids went to Ferny Hills State School and Ferny Grove High School. What are your thoughts on toddlers and screen time? I don't have any thoughts on that. I don't have any opinions on screen time, religion, homeschooling, Montessori, breastfeeding till they're 8. I don't have any opinions. Those are all personal choices. Do you think your toddler should be on the screen? I know my grandchild, she's 5 months old, and they don't use it a lot, but if they're really having a bad day with her, they'll watch that fruit video thing. It's got like 1 billion views or something. It's the weirdest thing. It's mesmerizing. So yeah, I mean, hey, if it's there and your kid's screaming, you got to go. If you have to go have a shower or something, yeah. I think it's talked about too much. I don't think it's that big a deal unless they're watching it all day long. And a lot of parents attribute, or people will attribute bad behavior in children to screen time. If it's excessive, potentially, but I think it's almost a cop-out. I don't think screen time leads to bad behavior unless it's obsessive. Nice hair. Thanks for that. Actually, I quite like my hair now. Half my hair fell out. I'm in my 60s now. And during menopause, half my hair fell out. And now it's like normal. I had huge hair. It was just, you wouldn't know this, but Diana Ross, like in the 70s, this huge hair. I just had tons of hair. So yeah, now it's manageable. Thank you very much for that. Detroit. Hi, Detroit. How do I boost confidence in my toddler? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, you're jumping the gun. Don't worry about that. Just have fun with them. Fun is their love language. They just want to have fun. They're not looking to confidence isn't something that you're going for with a toddler. Just make sure they're happy and having fun. That's all. Play with them a lot. Should I let my toddler choose from the fridge or not? I would say no. Yeah, don't ask me to go on about that, but no. The thing is, it's like anything. If you don't want them to do it all the time, don't ever let them do it. It's inconsistent. It's like I always say with grocery shopping, never let your toddler help with grocery shopping, ever. They're sitting in that seat. They've got their little goodie bag that you've brought every single time. It's different every day. And never let them help put groceries in the back. They do not understand why they can put paper towels in the back, but they can't put eggs in the back. You're asking for tantrums. You're setting them up for failure. So if you don't want them to go in the fridge all the time, never let them go in the fridge. Right? It's inconsistent. It's a mixed message. They don't understand that. Another Brisbane. Yeah, I get homesick. Moved back to Canada in 2005 because my mother was elderly and not doing too well. So we moved back here. But yeah, I miss Brisbane. You were born in Nepean Hospital. Excellent. My son was 1989. And, when I was in labor, it was my first child, and I was in labor there, and they said, now, do you mind? And you're right, you're so vulnerable. I'm just about to push. And they said, do you mind if some students come in and observe and they won't talk or anything? Well, I'm writing them. And sure, fine. 20 students came piling into my delivery room, like 20 of them. They didn't say a word. They just stood there and watched. And then they were all filed out right away. But yeah, so my very first birth, 20 students were watching. And they looked pretty horrified. I'll tell you. I do remember that. I remember them going, I'll bet a whole bunch of them dropped out of medical school after that. You'd think they would have said there's 20. I don't know what they said, but they didn't say 20 of them. I just thought maybe a couple would come in. The Gold Coast. Oh, we used to go down there all the time. Yeah. I know they always say the locals go up to the Sunshine Coast, but there's not a lot going on up there. So we always used to go down to theme parks along the Gold Coast. This is in Australia and Queensland where my kids were raised. Okay, can you please help with tips of taking responsibility for bad choices rather than blaming others? As parents, we model owning it when we get it wrong and it's not working. I don't get that. Can you please help with tips of taking responsibility for bad choices rather than blaming others? I have no idea what you mean by that. Oh, the kids are blaming others. Well, you make them take responsibility by having a consequence, but it was his fault. So I said the consequence is this: if you choose not to do it, media blackout for 24 hours. Don't get into a conversation about it. They're dragging you in. That's what's going on there. They're dragging you into it. You're being pulled in. They're going like this, and you're biting the line. Yeah. But he did it. Okay, well, do you want to do 24-hour media blackout instead then? I don't get into those conversations. When do you start the behavior board? This is on YouTube. It starts at the age of 3. And okay, how do you build a relationship with a 6-year-old after failing as a leader? Well, you can learn how to be a leader. You haven't failed yet. They're only 6. Check out my boot camp course that teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. It doesn't mean the work stops after 5 weeks, but you've got the tools to follow through. It takes about 3 to 6 months for you to really get good at this because you're kind of changing your personality, right? Should I ignore my son when he is sooking? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of in the whining department. Sooking is, this must be Australian. Sook is when, there's no other word for that. Sooking is when they're just being kind of whiny and crying and they want you and, you know, they're kind of glomming onto you. But yeah, I kind of just ignore that. Like, toughen up, you'll be okay. So long as they haven't got if they got a valid reason for being a sook, that's different. You know, if they're sick or something, but otherwise just say, yeah, you're all right. Okay. And then redirect. Say, how about we do this? How about we do that? Melbourne, never got down there. I was in Australia for about 20 years and people would say, oh, where do we go as tourists? I said, I don't know. I was never a tourist here. I moved and lived here. Like, I know how to raise a family in Australia, but I don't know how to tour around Australia. I got pregnant the day I arrived in Australia. So I was, you know, just a mom from day one. I know how to join play groups and mom groups there, Gymboree. I'll tell you a funny story though. I was new to Australia and I had a 5-month-old baby. So I joined a mom's group and it was about the 3rd week in and we went to different houses. So it was my turn to have them at my place and we had all these little babies and the moms turned up with champagne. Like, I thought it was the weirdest thing. And they had like these betting chips. And I thought, my God, they're gamblers and alcoholics. And what the heck? Like, I was so confused. And then they're all placing these bets and everything. They thought I knew what was going on. It was Melbourne Cup Day. I've never heard of it before. For North Americans or anyone else, Melbourne Cup Day is a horse race. And it's like the whole country shuts down during the race. And everyone bets on it. It's just fun, right? So, but yeah, all these moms turn up with alcohol and betting chips to a mom group. I just was so confused. I thought, well, these Aussies, they really know how to partay, even with a baby. What can I do about a 7-year-old who refuses to sleep in her bed? Check out my bedtime battles course. It's 2 parts, how to get them in bed and how to keep them there. That's the hard part. It goes from 2 to 8 years old. So she's right in line with that. It's hell. It's really difficult, but it's usually just one night of hell. And then you might have another night or 2 of a little bit difficult, but it's usually one really bad night. But it's worth it, right? Yeah, I had one client. It was just the way he told it. He told this hilarious story of all he did all night was get drunk and curse me out this bedtime battles night. And the kid never got up again. He only got up all night that one night, didn't go to bed, didn't fall asleep till 5 a.m. He was an older kid, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something. And yeah, so it worked. But the way the dad told the story was hilarious. And he was very sick the next day. Too much to drink. Son throws tantrums and throws himself on the ground at home and in public. Yeah, they're going to do that. Does it matter? Can't you just leave him there? Like, just stand there, wait for it to go over. I do have a tantrum course if you're interested. You just ignore tantrums. Just stand there like you're waiting for a bus, filing your nails. As soon as they're done, oh, you all done? Okay, let's go. If they're hurting themselves or someone else or damaging property, you can physically restrain them, but you still never talk to them or look at them when they're having a tantrum. It's the way you ignore it. You're not walking away. You're just standing there, filing your nails, like waiting for a bus. Yeah, they eventually learn this isn't going to work, but it doesn't happen. They won't, it diminishes, the tantrums will diminish in duration, frequency, and intensity over time. They're not going to stop tomorrow, but they will start to diminish. You'll see a difference. Should I use a behavior board for a preteen being too aggressive? A preteen or a tween is 9 to 12 years old and they're being aggressive with other people. Yeah, I would put down no hurting people. And there's a consequence if they do. But that's kind of tricky. If they're really aggressive, that might be coaching. That's kind of next level. If they're getting violent, that's next level. So you might want to look into coaching. Otherwise, check out the boot camp course. That might be a good fit for you. What can we do with a 6-year-old who doesn't respect his parents? The boot camp course might be a good place to look into. That's in the link above, and it's all about you, and it's about your leadership skills. They don't respect you unless, it's all about respect. You give respect to get it, but they don't respect you if you're not following through with stuff, if you're not consistent. Yeah, and you also have to be accountable. I teach leadership. I don't teach authority style where you tell kids what to do. You just lay down some rules, and if they don't follow them, then there's a consequence. And you're also accountable, though. Like a good one is parents, no yelling. That's your rule. And your consequence is you can't talk all night. So a lot of parents will put a Band-Aid over their mouth or something. The kids love that. Or you have to play hide and seek with them. If you yell at them, you have to play hide and seek with them. You have to be accountable too. I teach leadership. The old-fashioned authority style parent, it's not a bad way to parent, but the teenagers will often rebel. When the newfangled pleaser parent style is a total disaster. They'll wipe their feet all over their parents. They never have respect for them, and they will rebel, like probably before the teen years even. Anyway, and most pleaser parents yell because they realize it's not working, so they will yell. Anyway, but the leader, you don't yell. You give respect to get it, and they don't rebel against a leader. So they'll sail right through the teen years. Okay, what time is it? I've got to move on to, I can feel my voice starting to go. This is like week 3 of this stupid cold. Anyway, I got to go so I can manage through TikTok. I hope my voice holds out. Anyway, I'm moving over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. If not, check out the link above. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can look into coaching. And that's it. I'm on YouTube the whole time. That's where I save all my videos. Okay, all my lives, I mean. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. And I'm going over to TikTok now. Happy parenting. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, I got 11 people on YouTube. YouTube's my smallest platform, but it's got 10,000 followers now. So thank you so much for your support. Okay. Because I've got 1.2 million followers, but 10,000 of those are on YouTube. So I'm hoping to catch up on YouTube. Maybe one day. You're listening from Vancouver, Langley. Welcome. I'm Olympic Village area, downtown. I'm just reading the YouTube questions there. Every time I ask my son, 2 years old, to apologize, he doesn't, just withdraws. You don't ask a 2-year-old to apologize. There's no point whatsoever. I'll tell you a story. Welcome if you're on TikTok. This is on YouTube I'm responding to. So what they're saying is they can't get their 2-year-old to apologize. Apologizing is overrated. And there's 4 steps to apologizing anyway, not with a 2-year-old, by the way. You don't really get them to apologize. You just make sure there's a consequence, okay? Anyway, apologies are, they're so overrated. Anyway, there's 4 steps to a good apology. This is for adults and kids 3 and over. There's step number 1 is say you're sorry. I don't really care about it. To me, it's an empty word anyway. It's overused. Sorry, killed your whole family. Sorry. Oh, you're not very forgiving. I said I was sorry. It's so overused. It's ridiculous. It's like a get out of jail free card. You can do anything as long as you say sorry. Actually, I have some bitterness towards that word, obviously. Anyway, number 1 is you say you're sorry. Number 2 is you say it was all my fault. You take full responsibility for what you did wrong. Don't say I'm sorry I hit you, but I wouldn't have done that if you hadn't done that. You know what I mean? Like, just so take full responsibility. Step number 3 is really important. Make amends. What can I do to make it up to you? Hey, I'm sorry I was late. How about I buy the popcorn at the movies? You see, make it up to them. And number 4 is really important too. Don't keep doing it. If you keep doing the same mistake over and over again, the apology meant nothing. So anyway, okay. Oh, you're asking about your nieces and nephews. I don't teach aunting or uncling. I don't do that. I only teach parenting. Because if I gave you advice for someone else's kids and they didn't like it, see what I'm saying? Do you like Jordan Peterson? I think he's very intense, smart guy. I can listen to him sometimes. Yeah, very intense. I'm always looking for cheery stuff, and I find him kind of depressing, to be honest. Smart as heck, though. But yeah, I find him he's pretty heavy. I think he's got a lot of issues, like he's battled a lot of depression, I think. So I find him very heavy. And I tend to, because I deal with a lot of crisis work in my business with teenagers. So when I'm doing education stuff with business, I tend to look for really positive, upbeat people. So he's heavy. Okay, love your no nonsense approach. Okay, I struggle with my 2.5-year-old hitting and scratching, so frustrating. Check out my mini course. I have 4 mini toddler courses. One of them is toddlers who hit, etc. And that might be a good one for you. By the way, that's different from the tantrum course. If they hit during a tantrum, that's the tantrum course. It's different. If they're just aggressive and hitting just because they're not getting their own way, that's the toddlers who hit course. A lot of people buy them both, but it's different. Calls him out. He is heavy. Jordan Peterson. Yeah, smart guy though. You can learn something from everybody. Your TikToks have helped me tremendously. I'm the leader. Good for you. I love hearing that. I love my job. Absolutely love what I do. It just fills me up. You know how you know you're doing the right thing is it gives me energy. I love coaching is my favorite thing to do because I get to know my clients. And then this is my second favorite thing because I'm still talking to you, but it's one way, right? Sort of. But yeah, I love what I do. More on developing leadership. Well, I'll just read out the 4 stages of parenting. I don't talk about this one a lot because I don't have much written down here, but I'll just wing it. Okay, there's 4 different stages in parenting. This is your parenting style changes over these 4 stages. The first one's the baby stage. That's 0 to 15 months. That is when you meet their needs and meet their wants. So you're kind of just catering to them, loving them up, cuddling them. You're filling them up with all this love and security, right? So that's the baby stage. Then you kind of shift into the toddler stage. That's 16 to 35 months. This is just my own way I've done it. So the toddler stage is when you're starting to teach them right from wrong. You're not just filling them up with love all the time. If they're acting out, you can actually ignore them sometimes when they're having tantrums, etc. Okay, that's the toddler stage. You're starting to teach them right from wrong. They're not going to pick up on all of it right away. You're just kind of surviving with the toddler years sometimes. Then you go into the child years, 3 to 12 years old. That includes preteens and tweens, which is 9 to 12. But you parent them very similar, 3-year-old and a 12-year-old, in that you're at the height of your leadership skills. They want to please you. If you're a really good leader, they don't want to disappoint you. They want to please you. So that you're at the height of your leadership. All of their behavior between 3 and 12 is a direct result of your parenting. Yes, it is. Okay, now, then you go into the 4th stage of parenting. That is the teen stage, 13 plus. You start to back up a little bit. Start to let them make more mistakes, learn from their own mistakes. You want them to take the leadership torch on their own. You're just there for the big stuff. You're encouraging them to think for themselves more and to be their own leaders. So you go through those 4 different stages. I would say the ones that the parents struggle with the most, toddler, yeah, for sure, because they're new parents and they expect too much from their toddlers. Toddlers are just nuts. I'll read out my top 5 parenting toddlers tips in a minute. Anyway, most parents really struggle through the teen years because their problems are bigger and it is more frustrating. But it's not that teens are difficult. It's that parents haven't learned to adjust to the teen years. Okay, that's the problem. So anyway, that's my 4 stages of parenting. Now so my voice is going 3 weeks into this dumb cold. And I'm so fed up with it. I hate being sick. Like anyone likes it. But anyway, okay. These are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1 is you child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is you set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler, this is under the age of 3, you enter their world to do so. You don't take them to the nail salon with you. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. Number 4 is when you're disciplining a toddler, you do so in their world also. They're not about words, they're about actions. Consistent corrective actions. Everyone's doing these mini therapy sessions with toddlers discussing all their big feelings and big emotions. That is crap. I don't know who ever invented that. It's garbage. That's for the mom. That has, or the parents. That has nothing to do with the toddler. They're not listening to you. They're watching you. And it's all about consistent corrective actions. Number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. Okay, imagine if you've only been in the world for 2 years and the first year you were a potato laying on a mattress. Like, come on, don't expect too much from them. They're just nuts. I always call them crazy, but it's just that they haven't developed sanity yet. By the way, understanding right from wrong does not stop a toddler from doing the wrong thing because they don't have the control. It's a lack of control that makes them do the naughty things, okay? But they can learn slowly but surely through consistent corrective actions because they learn through actions, but it's repetition, repetition, repetition. So it's not a lack of understanding. Everyone's trying to, when you do that, it hurts me. They don't care. They're not listening to you, okay? It's not a lack of understanding. It's a lack of control on the toddler's part that makes them do things that annoy the heck out of you. What do you think of Miss Rachel for new toddlers? I don't know who that is, so I can't answer that. I stay in my lane. I don't look at anything else out there, so I don't know who that is or what they do. I have no idea. The only thing I know that's out there for kids right now, and I stay out of that. And I want all of my content to be not time sensitive. So like 20 years from now, I want it to still be relevant. Whereas if I was to talk about trendy stuff that's going on right now, it wouldn't be relevant 20 years from now. See what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm pretty careful with that. So yeah. I've opened my eyes because of you. Thank you so much. Oh, you're very welcome, Sarah. Okay. Tips on smooth bedtime. You got 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. They get crazy and can't hear anything I say. Check out my bedtime battles course. It's 2 parts: how to get them in bed, then how to keep them there. The secret is routine and consistency and structure. Okay. Make sure they all go to bed at the exact time you want them to. But bedtime routine should be usually has these things in it. It's usually brush your teeth, have a bath, get in your pajamas, and we'll read for 20 minutes or whatever it is. So, and then lights out, good night, and then you keep putting them back in bed every time they get out. There's a very specific way of doing it, and it can be hell, yes. Getting them in bed is quite easy. It's keeping them there that's really hard. But anyway, so check out the Bedtime Battles course. It's a whole system. So it's one of my mini courses up above. Okay. Okay, my 4-year-old won't listen to me, but will if his dad yells. How can I get him to listen? I'm consistent. Okay, it's not just being consistent. It's being consistent with the right things, right? And yelling works in the short term. It's like spanking. They work in the short term, but they backfire big time down the road. They're not a good long-term thing. I don't recommend them short term. I was never yelled at. I never yelled. Yeah, they don't work. But they do short term because it's fear-based parenting. You don't want to be fear-based parenting. So anyway, check out my boot camp course. That might be a good fit for you. Or you can just look at the behavior board. The behavior board is in the boot camp course, but the behavior board is completely free. And then if you want the boot camp course, it goes through a whole system. You start with behavior boards, then in week 4, you get off the behavior boards, and then you go into other stuff. So, but I start with the behavior board. I don't use it with all my clients. I almost always do, but with teenagers, we don't always use it. But it's just a way to get organized. It's just sort of a system in place, and you start slow. So yeah, check that out. The behavior board is completely free. It's in the link above. Sorry, I'm just trying to preserve my voice. I've got this dumb cold and I'm having a hard time right now. I'm in week 3. What do you mean by disciplining them in their world? Okay. With a toddler under the age of 3, you discipline them in their world. Their world is about actions, not words. You don't say, oh, that really hurt, mommy. You shouldn't hit, all that stuff. I know you're upset, all that garbage. That's very patronizing because that's not their world. Their world is if they hit, you say no hitting, and then you put the toy away that they hit with, or you remove a toy from them. You take action. They will learn that if they do something negative is going to happen to them. You remove them from the fun or remove fun from them. Okay, every single time. You got to be consistent. Might take 50 times and they'll eventually learn. But they don't learn through really stopping and thinking. They learn from just this knee-jerk reaction. Some of my clients are child psychologists, and they said that they learned because of this. It was, and my way of looking at it is just knee-jerk reaction. They just stop doing it because so many times that they've done it, but they're not really thinking it through when they're 2. They just don't. It's like if they touch a hot stove, they might touch it 10 times, but then they won't touch it 11. You know, if they were really thinking it through, they wouldn't touch it 2 times, but they'll usually keep going back until it just takes a while. So it's about consistent corrective actions because they learn through actions, not all these words. I know these mini therapy sessions are very trendy, but they're just ridiculous. So my voice is really struggling because I coach all day and then I'm doing this. I can't do the live earlier because I got to save my voice for coaching, right? Uh-oh. What are your thoughts on timeouts for a 2.5-year-old? This is from Ducky Sauce on YouTube. Cute. Yeah, I hate timeout. I can't stand it. Never done it, never will. I hate it. I think it's patronizing and mean. That's my opinion. I hate timeout. Like, you go over there, I don't even know how to deal with you. It's humiliating. Imagine if your boss put you in a timeout when you made a mistake. It's that humiliating for a child. You're sitting in that corner. It's humiliating. How does it make you feel? It's not teaching children anything except how to feel like crap about themselves. They're not sitting there thinking, well, I shouldn't have done that. They're sitting there feeling like garbage. Okay. I don't do that. I don't use timeout. I hate it. Can't stand it. Anyway, I think I've gone on enough about that. I hate timeout. Oh, someone just said you're a great leader. And I want to reiterate this too. Kids are easy for me. I always understand kids. I love teenagers. They're my favorite age to work with. Easy. I'm not a leader in my personal life. It's not my basic personality. I'm very much a follower in my personal life. I don't like to lead. I don't like to be bossed around. There's a difference. But I don't like to make any plans or any social stuff. I'll follow. You tell me where to go, what time to be there, what to eat. I don't care. You tell me all that. So I just want to reiterate, you don't have to be a leader in your personal life to be a leader for your children. I'm very maternal, so I take the leadership role with children. But I'm not maternal in my personal life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'd rather someone else make the decisions. So I just want to say that a lot of people say, but I can't be a leader because I'm not. Well, neither am I in my personal life, my adult life. I'm only a leader with kids because they need that. I'm very maternal, and kids need a leader. So that's why I'm a leader, because they need it. It's a basic need. If you're not a leader for your children, you're going to send them out in the world very vulnerable to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to go searching out a leader because it's a natural instinct for a child to need a leader. They need someone to look up to guide them, to talk to be a safe place to land. When you're a good leader for your children, they're going to tell you everything right through the teen years because you're a safe place to land. They trust you. They look up to you. They want to please you. And when they're teenagers, they just don't want to disappoint you. You're like a mentor to them. That's what it's like. And you can also be best friends with your kids, but you're still parent before you're anything. Kardashians, yeah. Not that they're bad people, but they're not people I'd want to raise my kids. Yeah, their value system's a little bit different than mine. Daughter has ADHD, RAD, ODD, PTSD, extremely behavioral. What help? You'd have to coach. You'd have to hire me for coaching. I'd have to assess that whole situation. By the way, ODD is not a medical diagnosis. It was something invented to make mothers feel better about themselves. Oppositional defiant disorder. It just means they're feisty kids. Yeah, you'd have to hire me if you're in that level. You're really struggling. Look into coaching. That's in the link above. I can't take everyone on these days, but if I don't answer your intake forms or your emails about coaching, just means I have no space available. How do I pick one behavior to put on board when some? Oh, okay. So in other words, what behavior do I put on the board? If you're doing this all by yourself and without me or without the course, if you're just doing the behavior board, make it something easy. Like put your shoes in the cubby within 5 minutes of arriving home. Something like that. Something not personal, not difficult. I always suggest you put down no hitting, but if you're not sure you could handle that, then don't put it. If I'm working with you, we'll always put no hitting. If they hit, we'll always put no hitting because I know how to guide you through. But if you're doing this on your own, yeah, pick something easy. Pick something you know you can do. It's not about, you're not going to fix everything in the first week. It's about getting going with the behavior board. It's about understanding how to lay down rules and then how to follow through with consequences. That's all you're learning right now. Okay. You're starting slow. It's a learning process. Like I would never use a behavior board. No way do I want kids looking at a board. I want them looking right at me. So I would never use one. It's a teaching tool. It teaches you how to do this. I remember when I first started coaching about 17 years ago. Yeah, about that. Could be long. No, about 17 years ago. Anyway, I didn't have a behavior board and I was teaching what I do, which is ridiculous because I'm level 10 with what I teach because I'm self-taught, right? Kids taught me all this. So, but then a year after I started coaching, I invented the behavior board and put the parents on it too. Everything changed after that. I haven't changed that behavior board in 16 years. It works. It's about accountability for the whole family. It's about giving respect to get it. I might have to go soon. I can feel my voice. I can feel like I'm going to get a coughing attack soon. Tired of being sick. Okay. Where can I get the behavior board? Everything I have, all my courses, everything is in that one link above in the description. So it'll take you there. So the behavior board's free, or you can get one of my mini toddler courses. I have 4 toddler courses. One's on tantrums, one's on potty training, bedtime battles, and then the other one is on toddlers who hit. And then I have my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old. It's all about you and your leadership. You learn how to be a leader in 5 weeks. It's all written material. And then I've also got some videos on there. Also, I've got some group coaching sessions on there because I went through a bunch with parents through each section, and that's all on there now too. So you'll see other parents asking the same questions you probably have, and then you can look into coaching. I'm really busy these days. I can't take everyone on. If I don't answer your emails or your messages about coaching, it's just because I don't have a space open. But I do like to mix up the ages. So, and this happened once before. This happened a couple times, but just recently, someone said, "Well, you took my sister, but not me." And I asked first, but they had different ages kids, and I like to mix up the ages that I'm working with. Mostly, I've got teenagers right now, but I usually take them on anyway. What else was I going to say? Oh, shoot, something else. Can't remember. What the heck was I going to say? Can't remember now. It was something I thought, oh, I'll say that in just a second. I forgot. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me. I'll be doing my regularly scheduled live tomorrow. And this was just one of my, off the cuff ones. And I just want to thank you for your support. I've got 1.2 million followers now. And I just want to say, I just can't believe that. That's been in under 2 years. And no, 2 years that I started on TikTok and then, then Instagram, then Facebook. And YouTube's growing. I've got 10,000 on YouTube now. So YouTube's a tough one to bust into because it's not social media. It's a search engine. So it's quite different. But yeah, I just want to say I'm really just floored by your support. I can't believe it. So I've been doing this for 17 years, but it really took off a couple of years ago. And I think people are ready to hear what I say. And they realize that a lot of stuff wasn't working before, and they're ready to hear this leadership stuff. So I'm just really grateful for that. Anyway, thanks so much for following me, and I hope you come back again tomorrow or another day, and we'll talk soon. Happy parenting. Bye now.